There they are. Hello, how's it going, everyone? My name is Bob Peters. I'm your bartending host today. I am live streaming from the Facebook bar, and we're just going to do a couple of things for you guys tonight. Since the bar is not open, we're going to do a couple of things for you guys that you guys can do in the safety of your own home, in your kitchen or your bar. Some very simple things. If you guys didn't see me yesterday, we started this new series, Happy Hour. We're going to be going Monday through Thursday from 5 o'clock to about 5:30, somewhere around there, and we're going to just have a little happy hour together. So today I wanted to do something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that's North Carolina gin. I absolutely adore North Carolina gin, and I've pulled some really delicious juice from a couple different cities, several different distilleries around the state, and I'm going to share those with you. There are a ton of other really amazing distilleries and other great gins in North Carolina. However, these are just the ones that we have here. If you don't see your gin, your brand, or your favorite, or your distillery up here, it's not because I don't like it. It's just I don't have room for all the really good stuff that North Carolina has, okay? All right, so without further ado, I guess we should get started. All we needed for today was a little bit of fresh lemon juice, which I pressed right before we started today. And we've got some simple syrup going. And that's about it. If you have some bubbles laying around the house, we'll definitely use that as well. But let's get moving. Okay, so we're going to start off with a Collins glass. We're going to fill up our glass with ice, and we're going to set it right here just to let that start to chill, start to cool down the glass a little bit. And in my shaker, I filled it up with a little bit of ice. I'm going to use some Doc Porter's gin. Now this, if you guys haven't tried this before, really amazing. They actually just won the 2020 Charlotte Magazine Best of Award for Best Distillery. It is amazing stuff. Everything they're doing over Doc Porter's is awesome, and they are great people. So if you haven't tried this yet, or any other juice that they're doing, go out and buy a bottle, and you will not be disappointed. The gin is especially delicious, especially this time of year. It's not your typical gin. It's not your mom and dad's gin. This doesn't taste like Tanqueray. It doesn't taste like Sapphire, which has the very distinct note of like pine or spruce, you know, like that wintergreen flavor. That's the juniper berry, which is what gin is based off of. This is a little different. This is an American-style gin or Western-style gin, so that means that it's a little bit more botanical than just that one sort of note of the juniper, the juniper berry, the spruce, the pine, whatever you want to call it. So, anyhow, this one is chamomile. This one tastes a lot like chamomile. You can definitely taste the juniper in there as well, but chamomile and citrus notes. There's also just a little touch of cardamom in there. And all of these beautiful flavors, they're going to give and allow you to make an amazing cocktail. Of course, if you just want a good old-fashioned gin and tonic, you're welcome to do that. However, this, with the mixed cocktails, it's really, really, really amazing. So, we're going to start off with 1.5 ounces of our Doc Porter's gin. If you want to, you can go all the way up to 2 ounces. If you're not quite feeling it today, or you want to start off slowly, you can bring it back down to 1 ounce. I shoot for the middle, typically 1 ounce. If I had a tougher day, then I'll go ahead and mark it all the way up to 2 ounces. But for us, for here at home, let's start off with 1.5 ounces. And then I'm going to use a little bit of simple syrup. We're going to use 1 ounce of the simple syrup. And then we're going to use 3/4 ounce of fresh pressed lemon juice. Okay? Now, anybody who's seen my cocktail classes before or sat at my bar knows that I am a huge proponent of fresh juice. If you do one thing and only take one thing away from what you learn here today, is that you have to use fresh juice. You have to. It's imperative. Because this stuff, that you make, that you press fresh, that you squeeze fresh, it doesn't taste anything like those little plastic lemons or limes that you get in the grocery store. It's not the same thing. So at any rate, use your fresh juice, okay? All right, so now I have my simple syrup in, I have my gin in, and my lemon juice, and my ice, and my shaker. We're going to go ahead and give this a nice shake. Okay. Now we're going to strain this into our Collins glass. And we're also going to use a tea strainer. Now this technique is called double straining because you're straining once right here and then twice with this one. This little net or basket, this fine mesh strainer, is going to catch all the particulates, all those pieces of pulp from the lemon juice, and any of the ice that when you shake it breaks off into little shards, so the texture is going to be really beautiful and silky smooth. Okay, so we're double straining into our Collins glass. Typically, it goes about 3/4 of the way up. Just cutting a wheel, just a normal wheel, not too thick. It's not quite a finger width. And then I'm going to put a nice little slit in the wheel so that you can hang this on your glass. This, what I'm making right here, what I just actually finished, is Tom Collins. That's it. Super, super, super simple. So this has got my North Carolina Doc Porter's gin in here, 1.5 ounces. I also have 3/4 of an ounce of fresh pressed lemon juice, and then 1 ounce of simple syrup. Now, if you like things a little bit sweeter, no problem. Just put a little bit more simple syrup in there. If you taste it and it's not sweet enough, I would go about 1/4 ounce at a time, just a little bit more. If it's not sweet enough then, no problem, just 1/4 ounce more. And just keep going up until you find your perfect balance. This is all about you enjoying your cocktail and not me, because my recipe might be just a little bit different than yours. And that's okay, that's okay. People sometimes get too caught up on recipes and they're like, they want to know the exact recipe. Well, that's what I like to call more of a guideline than like a hard, fast rule, because I hate rules. All right, Alex, you want to try this one?
Sure.
Let's see. Ooh, yeah. Really delicious. That one's not too sweet. Again, if you like things that are a little bit sweeter, you can add a little bit more simple syrup to it. Maybe you're going to end up with 1.5 ounces of simple, 1.5 ounces of your gin. Just depends on how sweet you like things. What do you think about that one, Al?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Perfect for today's weather.
Perfect for today's weather. What's really interesting to me is that chamomile and cardamom really shine through in this, and it doesn't taste like that piney sort of spruce Christmas tree that you think a lot about gin. You know, gin gets a bad rap because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who drink too much gin at one point in their life, maybe one night, maybe too much cheap gin, like in college, and then you have a bad experience, and then all of a sudden you swear it off for the rest of your life. Well, this is different. This is different. So give it a shot, and you may be surprised about what it tastes like. This is really amazing stuff. Again, Doc Porter's is doing some amazing stuff. So that one is probably one of the easiest but hardest recipes, because typically when you see a Tom Collins, you think like your grandparents are drinking Tom Collins. It's so easy, and that's a great one to do out at the pool. If you're going on a picnic or something like that, you can make up a pitcher of them or put them in your thermos. You can go ahead and add in the soda water, whatever you want. Just don't shake it up with the soda water. Soda water, if you want to add that in at the very end, that makes it really easy. But again, like a big pitcher of those at a party, or if you're out at your pool, if you're quarantining and you want to make all your drinks at the beginning of the evening, you go ahead and pour them all out little by little. Okay? If you guys have any questions or comments at any point, you guys just type them in below, and Alex will read them off to me. We'll figure out any recipes y'all want to talk about, or if I said something wrong, you guys just let me know, and we'll figure it out, okay? Next, I did mention, I think, earlier that Next week, we're going to be starting again on Monday. We're going to be doing our happy hour starting at 5 o'clock. If you guys have any requests that you guys want to work on, whether it's bourbon or more tequila or anything at all, then just let us know. Put them again in the comments below, and we'll work it out for sure. Anything you guys want to do. All right, so I've got one more cocktail for you guys. This one is super easy, and this one is delicious as well. We're going to put the docks aside, and we're going to pull out the Cardinal Gin, which is out of Kings Mountain, North Carolina. It's two brothers, Alex and Charlie Mooney. Really amazing guys, and they're making some amazing gin. Alex, actually, I heard that they're moving. They're moving from Kings Mountain to Gastonia. They've got a really big brand new place, and they're pretty excited about moving in. So if you guys down in Gastonia, look out for them, the Cardinal Gin guys, Artisan Spirits. This is some pretty amazing stuff. And they do also have a rye and a bourbon, and I think that's it for now. But anyway, so let's do one more cocktail, and then I'll tell you guys a little bit about the Top of the Hill Gin in a minute, as well as the Sutler's Gin. But this cocktail is very special to me because this is my wife's favorite. This is called a French 75. Again, super easy to make. This is definitely not something that's difficult, because if I can do it, you guys can do it. So anyway, here we go. We're going to get our shakers again. Put a scoop of ice in there. And then we are going to do our 1.5 ounces of Cardinal Gin. We're going to do a 1/2 ounce of our simple syrup. And, the simple syrup, people ask me about this all the time. So the simple syrup I do just a little bit differently. Typically people do a 1 part sugar, 1 part water simple syrup. I think that's a little bit too sweet. I like my cocktails just a little bit more adult. So instead of doing a 1-to-1 ratio, I do 2 parts water, 1 part sugar. That kind of makes sense? I think it does, because it allows you to get that sweetness in there, but also it makes it a little bit easier to hit that perfect balance of sweetness for you. And cocktails are all about balance. So do not ignore the sweetness. Don't not put sugar in there. Adding sugar to your cocktails is kind of like adding just a little bit of salt to a steak. Salt makes savory flavors taste more like they do to begin with, kind of like sugar with fruit makes it taste even more like that fruit to begin with, which is one of my favorite things. Like a little bit of sugar on lemon makes amazing, amazing difference. So we've got a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup in there, 1.5 ounces of our Cardinal Gin, and then we're going to put a 1/2 ounce of our fresh pressed lemon juice in there. Does this look familiar? It looks a lot like the Tom Collins that we did. I'll show you why here in a second. Give it a good shake. And then once again, we are going to double strain this. But this time, instead of using our Collins glass, we are going to use our champagne flute. And we're going to double strain this into our flute. All right. Give it a quick rinse there. All right, now for the final ingredient, I'm sure you guys can imagine, we've got some bubbles. That's right. So the question that I get all the time when making champagne cocktails is, what kind of champagne do I use? How expensive does it need to be? It doesn't need to be very expensive at all. If you guys have a bottle of Dom that you've been saving for a while, you might want to just drink that on its own instead of pouring that in with gin and lemon juice. But if you want to, go right ahead. Ballers want a ball, right? So do it. But I'm saying that you don't have to, okay? You don't have to use an expensive bottle. I am really fine when I'm making cocktails, champagne cocktails. I'm fine with about a $10 bottle, $12 bottle. That's completely fine. Anything on sale at Harris Teeter, I really love. And it makes great cocktails. So you don't have to use champagne either. A lot of times people get champagne, Prosecco, and Cava confused. That's easily done. So basically champagne's from France, Prosecco is from Italy, and Cava is from Spain. There's a whole lot more to it, but that's the simple version, okay? All right, so now we're just gonna top this off, hopefully without making a mess here at the Cool Fish Bar. All right, just nice top off. Put that aside, finish that here in a minute. And then I'm going to use my leftover lemon here to get a nice swath, a nice lemon rind off of it. So this is a Y peeler. It's a vegetable peeler. And all you're going to do is you're going to take a nice peel of the vegetable of the lemon off of there. So can you see what I'm doing? So I'm just getting a nice big piece of that lemon rind off of there. And that's it. See, so on one side is the outside of the skin, and the inside of it is like, it's white. It's the pith. But you don't want too much of the pith, but you also, if you have a little bit on there, it's not too bad. What you really don't want is you don't want any of the meat in there, okay? If you did that, then you dug in too hard. Not the end of the world. You can scrape it off, but this is probably what it's going to end up looking like, okay? So what we're going to do now is we are going to express the lemon rind over our glass. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make, and you can see me sort of doing this, you can see me making a U shape out of it, and we're going to do that with the white part, the pith, facing us, okay? And then eventually you're going to squeeze it after you sort of rolled it in your hand a little bit, like that over the glass, and what's going to happen is this is going to express the lemon rind, and it's going to shoot out all this really beautiful lemon juice, okay? So if you can see this, and it's shooting out this really beautiful lemon oil, and we're going to take that same side, the yellow side, and we're going to rub it around the edge of the glass. Really beautiful, and so then that way, every time you take a sip of the French 75, your lips are going to touch a little bit of that lemon oil, and I wish you guys could smell it. Smell-o-vision should be a thing. This smells amazing right now. So I think I'm going to try this one. Alex, you okay with your drink?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try this one. Cheers, guys. So delicious. Wow, that is delicious. Okay, so the neat thing here is that all of these gins taste different, right? So we talked about the Doc Porter's has very much like a note of cardamom in there, chamomile, and some fresh citrus. Cardinal Gin is completely different. Even though it's a gin, this has way different tasting notes. This one tastes a lot like spearmint, which is amazing. There's also like a note of clove in there, which adds a great depth of flavor to all of your cocktails. And that's why I love using my North Carolina product. If you wanted to use something else, then you're welcome to. Top of the Hill is doing some really amazing gin as well. This is really neat. This is out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the Top of the Hill distillery. They're all organic. They're super, super, super cool. This one has this really beautiful pop, this note of rosemary that makes incredibly interesting cocktails. Really delicious, very botanical, and fantastic. Again, that one's even organic, and so I love using Top of the Hill. And then another one that I have right here, this is Sutler's Gin. Sutler's is out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that one is delicious as well. Really well made. This one has a lot of notes of ginger and lemon in it. So in all of these, you're going to taste a little bit of that juniper flavor, that piney, sprucey flavor, but it's reduced a lot down, a lot more down than, let's say, the stuff that we grew up on or our parents drank. So the Tanqueray, the Sapphire, all of those have got that really very upfront spruce flavor. And these have all these really beautiful botanical soft flavors to them. But they're still gin. Okay, what did I miss? Did I miss anything? You guys have any questions?
We don't have any questions.
Okay.
Kramer says he's making one right now. He's gonna go make
Who's making it?
Jeff Kramer.
Jeff Kramer. Cheers. Making a French 75.
Yeah. We could. Do you want to make one more? I kind of want to try it now.
Yeah, I'll make another one. You down? Okay. I'm going to make one more French 75 for Alex. And if you guys have any, again, if y'all have any suggestions, we're going to be back live on Happy Hour for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday next week at 5 o'clock. So any suggestions you guys have, again, put it in the comments box below, and we'll try to accommodate. You got it?
It's also worth mentioning that this recipe is actually one of the recipes that you put on the Cool Fish cocktail menu. It's actually very popular here.
That's right. This is one of my all-time favorite classic cocktails. And the story about the French 75, I'm glad you brought that up, Alex, is one of my favorite stories. So sometimes when people say classic cocktails, they're like, well, what does that mean? That means that basically they've been around for so long that almost everybody knows them. So this one is way different because this comes from 1915, which I think is incredible that it's been around for 105 years, and it's really amazing. So this comes out of a little place called the American Bar, which was in Paris, France, in World War I, and they were trying to figure out what to do with cognac and what to do with champagne. Well, they basically put those two together, add a little lemon juice, a little bit of sugar water, and voila, you come up with the original recipe of the French 75. It since then has developed into also using and well-accepted gin, but originally it was made with cognac. That's a great winter French 75, but I think this is the best and one of my favorite cocktails for sure for summer and the warmer months as well. French 75. Oh, and okay, well the name of it also, French 75, is because the soldiers during World War I said that this has the same amount of kick as a 75 millimeter French rifle, which I think is hilarious. So then people just called it a French 75. I love that story. Okay, so we're back to the crucial part, what we call the double strain. And if you don't have a little tea strainer like what is in my left hand, then you can buy one typically at a little grocery store, or you can buy one off of Amazon, and they're super inexpensive. You can find them sometimes for as cheap as about $1.99. And they really step up your cocktail game a ton. Okay. So last but not least, we're just going to top this off with whatever your favorite bubbles are or whatever you have laying around the house. Try not to make a mess. We'll see what happens. And then once again, we're going to get a nice big fat lemon rind. Take your time. Please be careful with your vegetable peelers, because as innocent and as foolproof as they look, they are knives. And if you're not paying attention, you can totally slice your hand open. So please be careful and treat that with respect. Okay? So we're going to express over our glass again. You can see some of that oil come shooting out of the lemon rind. Rub it around the edge of the glass twice, and then just dunk it down in there, and it's ready to drink. Here you go, Alex. Cheers. It's just so good.
Fresh ingredients.
Fresh ingredients make all the difference in the world, right? This one is another one that that would be great by the pool. If you can make a batch of this ahead of time and then just add bubbles to it, little by little, and then that way it doesn't go flat and you get that really nice sharp bubble that everybody loves about champagne and Prosecco and Cava. Okay? What else? What am I missing, Alex? Okay. Well, again, if you guys have any questions or comments or requests about recipes that we want to do, just add them in the comments a little bit below. And don't forget to join us on Monday at 5 o'clock for another happy hour. Thank you guys. Y'all stay home and stay safe.